Hello, everybody. This is Christina Fasonic broadcasting live from, I'm back in West Virginia again tonight. We've spent the last two lives in Erie, Pennsylvania. I am not in a car, nor am I somewhere in some business doing some kind of broadcast, but I'm back at home and I'm outside on one of our last late night sunsets. So I want to bring my co-host, Damian Dresick, on. Hello, Damian.
Good evening, Christina. How are you in Wheeling tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. I am back inside, shackled to my desk where I expect to remain until November 23rd.
Wow, at least you get out November 23rd. I got to plow on through till December 11th. So
I'm waiting for turkey. That's when I leave my desk, when I smell turkey.
That's inspiring. So we have a new reader tonight, and would you like to introduce her before we bring her on?
I very much would like to introduce her tonight. We have a special treat coming to you, come from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ellen McGrath Smith, who teaches at the University of Pittsburgh. I was going to say coming to you live from the University of Pittsburgh, and she just told me she's not actually at the University of Pittsburgh, and I didn't want to misrepresent her whereabouts. Ellen has had poetry appear in the New York Times, the American Poetry Review, Talking Writing, the Los Angeles Review, and other journals and anthologies. Her books include Scatter, Feed from Seven Kitchens Press, and Nobody's, I love this title, Nobody's Jackknife. And I found some exciting trivia about Nobody's Jackknife. I saw that it came out from West End Press, which I did not know much about West End Press, and I looked it up, and they are named after the West End Bar in New York City across from Columbia University, where I spent many evenings during my early 20s listening to jazz music. So
very cool.
Nobody's Jackknife, West End Press, 2015, Ellen McGrath Smith coming to you from WCONA live right now.
Hello, Ellen.
Hi, Christina. Hi, Damian. Thanks for the introduction. Sadly, in 2019, John Crawford, who founded and ran the West End Press for 40 years, passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, a group of us are going to try to get a tribute at the next AWP. So we're working on that, just a group of West End Press authors, so that he's not forgotten, because he's done amazing things, not just for us, but for the literary landscape. So, okay.
20 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And that can have a lot of influence in that amount of time.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. So what will you be reading for us tonight?
Well, I thought, right before COVID happened, we were supposed to have a book launch for a really special anthology, special to me anyway, called Is It Hot in Here or Is It Just Me? Women Over 40 Write on Aging, edited by Nina Padoff, Jeanette Schaefer, Wendy Scott, and Holly Spencer for Beautiful Cadaver Press. And so I thought I'd read the poems that are in that anthology.
Excellent. What a great title. I want to go out and get that.
Right now. Right.
So we will let you read. We'll pop off and let you do some reading from that great anthology, and then we'll be back on to talk with you when you're finished.
Okay. I've got 3 poems from that, and then I've got more of a pandemic poem. So do you think 4 poems are going to be okay?
Yes, absolutely. It sounds wonderful.
Okay. So
we'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to start with a poem called Tail End of the Juicy, which is set on my college campus in the autumn, I'll be experiencing autumn, but I probably won't be strolling around the campus. Tail End of the Juicy. On the path between the Union and the library, to my right, rolling hillocks of chrysanthemums, a splintered pepper scent folding its arms over the bumps of purple, gold, rust red, enough chill in the air to make an outline around us, everyone covered for the first time in months. From a height, would be mistaken for wayward bees, the ones that seem so desperate in September, zooming drunk around the heads of people, soaking in the honey sun that's suddenly coy. Wave and whap as much as you like. The bees come back for more with uncanny regularity, as if craving an end stop to the season. When my cycle ended, I wasn't surprised or sad. The whole build-up to this not with a bang, but a whimper drop in hormone drained me through the years. It was welcome finally to feel emotions rise from my center, not splattering around me like a collapsible cage. Problems arise, they are dealt with, the trash goes out. That extreme weather took me out of myself and landed me somewhere at a distance, far enough it took a good 2 weeks to get back in time to await the next event, anxiously, as the moon inside me grew. The bees of early fall remind me of myself at the tail end of the juicy part of my body's life. Is this the end yet? And if so, of what? So I droned to the motion of each full-on launch into feelings much greater than I could contain. It sounds hyperbolic, but this equanimity's foreign to me. And the longer I live in this new land, the more I see there is something to mourn. If only I can gather the distributed grief. And the second poem I'll read is called Old Mother, Old Daughter. She looks at the body that formed her down the long corridor of years, shape becoming shapeless in the shards of light from leaded glass, April cold with sun making campaign promises. She feels her hips with her hands, akimbo, she thinks. Did you find it? She asks, referring to her birth certificate, which she needs for a passport. The voice she has known as long as she's lived hasn't changed, though it's wrung of its edges, a pumice stone, more narrow in its range. What she can see is a fistful of photos like a wilted bouquet, color black and white, peeling Polaroids, but the answer is no. Bureaucratic hoops to jump through now, when all that is needed is a cup of tea and time to prove it happened, though that drama seems so small now, just a dime in the corner of a dresser, steadfast shining in the dark. And then this last poem that was in this anthology on aging comes from a book manuscript that I've been working on for years, which is making the rounds now. It's called Shaken, a Recycle, and in it the poems play with the first lines of Shakespeare's sonnets. So in this particular poem, there are a couple of lines from the sonnet 16, placed toward the end of the poem. But what I'm talking about and what the poem is titled is this concept called Ephebophobia, which is fear of the young. And I learned about it when I was teaching a book by the wonderful poet Dorothy Baracey to one of my classes at Pitt. Dorothy Baracey did go to Pitt and do some graduate work there. Ephebophobia. So we're discussing a poem in my class about ephebophobia, the irrational fear of the young. And maybe they know, maybe they don't, that I understand it through and through. Or maybe they're being kind, maybe not, when they say the young can be dangerous or disrespectful or hard to control, and that this is the reason why the speaker has fear, or a less hyperbolic form of it. And I have to lead them forcibly to pure envy. How someone like me might see the young as moving through a space I'll never occupy again. But wherefore do not you a mightier way make war upon this bloody tyrant time, which kills me? And the last poem I'll read is a tribute, pandemic time tribute to one of my favorite poets, Gilbert. And it's based on a prompt in my writers group: where or with whom would you like to spend the pandemic? For this quarantine, I would love to be in Greece to write it out with Gilbert, who knew how to live well in isolation, mortar the days with soft stoicism, keeping the city of our birth in a battered strongbox covered with gems and cuckoo shells. He knew how to piss in pitch dark, how to be an archaeologist of shame, resentment, blunt force, infidelity. With Gilbert, I could be honest about the dung I'm made of, the many deadbolts that kept me landlocked in a Pittsburgh he'd escaped well enough to fully praise. Jack would wait like a bridegroom for deliveries of soup bones and fish, with the raw relish of a buckleman and the patience of a surgeon. He'd slice the honey cakes and cassava, never eating more than he needed to fuel his goat path walks, taken with thematic regularity. For variation, a gathering of ripe figs in his shirt, lifted to reveal the tacit conversation between his navel and his bottom ribs. Over and over, I would tell him how Threshing the Fire is the poem I go back to whenever I'm ready to break something, leave a lacerating shape of myself in big plate glass as evidence of my escape from or into the ringing world. He would tell me to write my own threshing as he trimmed his beard to the angles of royalty on playing cards, my cue to give him space and get to work, leave the windows alone. And he wouldn't be my writing coach, would never critique my work at all, only listen as I read it at the fire on starlit nights. Because hadn't quarantine taught me anything, his glinting eyes would imply, hadn't I learned that the only good writing is subsistence writing, what one does by dint of having been gored by the impulse? To write once is to seem to remove the sharpness, though the wound only seems to close, the way a lake at dusk seems to shrink when hemmed by trees or mountains, bending in like parents tending the baby they wanted, the one who, leave or stay, would always shine for them. When I was young and fiercest drunk, I would quarantine myself, play Leonard Cohen, and read Jack's poems out loud. I am hammered, I am hammered, I am hammered into the sun. And what he got right about Pittsburgh was its casual violence, like the time my Irish grandfather and some guys followed a man out of a bar where he'd bragged about fucking a 10-year-old, kicked the living shit out of him in an alley, then headed to the working men's midnight mass. Without much dancing in the streets this spring, and the quarantine keeping everyone inside, the city's harder edges reemerge from under the artisanal trim of recent years. I hear the echoes of fury slapping resignation multiple times across its face, the sacramental drip of sweat and blood. Being quarantined in this is like a time machine back to the city we knew, the cracking knuckles of freight trains pushing through. We would be better off elsewhere, better off in Greece, our bruised fists ripening like figs, the fathers in their saturnalias, crouching in our shadows at noon.
Ellen, that was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Like, I don't even know where to start. The images were so great, and that sensual detail all the way from the beginning with this juicy time of life to the end with this big fist and this just everything was wonderful. Thank you.
You're so nice. Thank you.
No, it's strange. That was one of the. I really liked that. It was the longer you read, the more I wanted to hear. Like I could have listened to that continue on and on for like an hour. It just built power as you read. And I so love all the imagery is, the fistful of photos, the bees in the late fall. And I love that the escape well enough to fully praise. It reminds me of a lot of people I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am very hopeful for that a wonderful press will pick up this book you are presently shopping if any of the other poems are half as good as that one. That was very lovely work.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
You get bonus points for Leonard Cohen.
I figured you get bonus points for Greece from you.
Well, I was going to say Greece because it made me, I want to go to Greece so badly. Like I want to be there like right this very minute, but here I am. Right. I want to be in Santorini and I want to swim and I want to be in this beautiful, West Virginia's very beautiful, but it's just not the same. Yeah. So thank you so much. And you can tell by, the response that we've been getting that everybody really enjoyed your reading, and we appreciate that so much. Thank you.
And people can study poetry with you at the University of Pittsburgh, can they not?
Yeah. I teach there. I also teach in the summertime with the Mad Women in the Attic, and we just had I had 2 great workshops with some folks, a couple of West Virginia folks. The thing is that we're remote now, so literally any women across the globe can take a Mad Women class as long as they've got good internet.
That's really cool. I did not know that, but that's really great to hear.
I thought it was advertised earlier this week, and I'm like all pumped because I want to take a workshop. So that's exciting.
We've had at least 2 or 3 of our readers have come out of at least at some point, come out and all have been wonderful. It's such a great program.
Yeah. It's a wonderful workshop to teach too, because it's not teaching really. I mean, there are so many really strong and supportive critical voices in that group. It just blows me away every year.
That's awesome. And we need more and more of that, especially right now. We need our community. We need our people.
We do.
Definitely.
And it's just super great that you've been doing this. I've had the chance to sit in on a couple of them. I saw Leslie's and Barbara's, and it's great to just have, a nice little break. And then you had Sue Powers on last week. How did I miss that?
You can watch it now.
Yeah,
all are recorded.
She's on our page still. So if you go to our Facebook, she was absolutely amazing. Like we were hanging on to every word as she played. She will be at the Writers Conference of Northern Appalachia too. She's going to play at lunchtime for us so that when we're taking a break from our writing workshops, we can just listen to Sue sing. So she's been at it for years. She went to New York for a while, but she's back. And so is that going to be a virtual conference? Yes,
it is.
It's on September 12th.
Oh yeah,
and it's live. So some of it you can register on our website, the Writers Conference of Northern Appalachia.
Okay.
And go ahead. I'm sorry, Dave.
Say one thing that's really important about it is free to attend. So not only can people of all geographic regions, or anybody who's interested in Northern Appalachian literature from anywhere attend it, even if you have no way to get there, but you don't need to have any money to go to it.
Yes.
You put something on this year for people.
I can tell my students about it, right?
We'd love it if you told your students about it.
I'm requiring my students to attend.
There you go. There you go.
I'm teaching a capstone course for our majors, and I think here we can see they can actually attend. We have some absolutely awesome presenters that are presenting about the craft, but also about how do you build a platform as a writer? How do you, what do editors at journals, what are they looking for in terms of submissions and so forth? So it's stuff that our majors need anyway.
Wow, this is great information. And now that I am in full-on teaching mode, I'm going to pass it along. I'm going to go backwards too and send it to my spring class, which broke up, right? You know, I was really close with my spring poetry workshop, and then we all went our different ways. A lot of those are graduating seniors who are casting about now, looking for ways to keep their writing going. So I'll let them know. I'll let the Mad Women know. I will spread the word.
Excellent.
Thank you. We look forward to it. I think we have about 150 people registered so far. So we're like, bring it on. We want as many people to have some exposure to some good writers and other stuff as we can get. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great night, Ellen. Thank you again so much for coming on WCONA Live.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, and nice to talk to you. Enjoy.
Yeah, you too.
See you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.